Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona on this homecoming weekend as the Arizona State Sun Devils find themselves down to the Washington State Cougars at halftime, 17-14. Alongside Cole Feinblum, Noah Friedman with you in the press box. Cole, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast how Washington State had three running backs who would average at least 5 yards per carry, but so far the Sun Devils have been able to hold Washington State to negative 6 yards in the rushing game. So why has Arizona State been so successful on that defensive side of the ball, being able to stop Washington State's rushing attack?
In that front seven, I think it's just they've been getting so much leverage up the middle, led by, I think, Tashawn Smallwood's been getting through pretty much with ease. And then DJ Calhoun up the middle, the linebacker's been getting there, making some tackles. He's been getting the stops, and it's just surprising. I mean, in the past, negative 6 isn't good in any situation, but for Washington State, they're not known for running the ball. But this year, averaging 140 yards on the ground, negative 6 in the first half, that's not going to cut it. So they're going to, I don't know if they're going to abandon the run game, but they need to rely on Luke Falk this half because that run game is not working.
Now, we saw Manny Wilkins in there at quarterback for Arizona State for the first two series, but then left the game with an unspecified injury. We don't know of his status at this moment, but we will get you that as soon as we know the update. But right now, Dylan Sterling Cole is in there at quarterback for the Arizona State Sun Devils, completed his first ever collegiate pass. He's completed two passes, actually, 2 for 5, 32 yards, and a quarterback rating of 93.8 at this point. What do the Sun Devils need to do on offense to move the ball down the field with Sterling Cole at the helm?
And I think they just need to do what the opposite of what Washington State probably should do and just run the ball. I think one word to describe Sterling Cole has been smart. He hasn't been great, but he's been smart. He hasn't made any bad decisions. He's thrown the ball where he probably should throw the ball, just a little bit off target. But they're running the ball great. Kalen Balazs is finally back in the fold in the Sparky. They're using him and Richard. A lot of handoffs and some zone reads for Dylan Sterling Cole. And I think if they keep that up, they'll be able to drive the ball down on Washington State.
Washington State won the toss at the beginning of this game and deferred to the second half, so they will get the ball to start. Robert Taylor, who had a 100-yard kickoff return in the second quarter, is back deep to receive for the Cougars. Instead, about 7 or 8 yards inside his end zone, takes a knee, and the Cougars will start this drive at the 25-yard line as they find themselves up by a field goal, 17-14 as we start this third quarter.
Yeah, familiar territory for the Sun Devils here, trailing coming into this second half. They haven't led, as we mentioned before we went to halftime, coming into the second half since the start of their Pac-12 play. So we'll see what they do. They've been labeled as a second-half team all season. As much as they don't like to be called that, they have proven that they play better in the second half of games. So we'll see what they do here, starting off on the defensive end.
Nice transition. ASU has averaged 29 points in the second half this season, thanks to our historian and researcher for that stat, as Luke Falk finds himself at his own 20-yard line with Jamal Morrow to his left, 2 wide receivers out to the left and 2 to the right. Washington State working from left to right. Falk taking a shot down the middle. It is going to be incomplete. Nice defense by Deshaun Gump Hayes on that one. Robert Lewis, number 15, the intended target for the Cougars.
That ball was thrown a little bit behind Lewis. If Falk would have led Lewis, he had some open space in front of him. Thrown behind, gave Gump a chance to recover, and he did so, connected, and timed it perfectly to break that ball up.
So it'll be a 2nd down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Just getting started in this third quarter on homecoming weekend. Arizona State down by 3 points, 17-14. Luke Falk in the shotgun. Nobody is there to protect him. 2 wide receivers left, 2 to the right. Luke Falk looking. It's going to be a dump off. Catching it at about the 25-yard line. It's going to be a catch made by Robert Lewis once again, and a flag is down after that play.
It looks like they might be going with a face mask here. Lewis was spun down. The refs are conferring. Todd Graham is incensed on the sideline with the call.
Personal foul, face mask, number 4, defense. That 15-yard penalty will be forced from the end of the play, first down.
Yeah, they ended up getting Karan Crump on that one. Junior college transfer from Fort Scott Community College. So that'll move the Cougars up by 15 yards as Michael Mothershed's microphone is still on at this point, so we're going to try to work through the adversity of that at the moment. His mic is still, in fact, hot. He doesn't realize that his mic hasn't been turned off, but Falk finds himself in the shotgun as it finally is able to be turned off here. So it'll be a 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line after the 15-yard penalty on Karan Crump. This is a give to Jamal Morrow, met in the trenches by a couple of Sun Devil players, JoJo Wicker and Salam Ofiso among them.
Yeah, that gap, as we mentioned, up the middle has been shut off. JoJo Wicker and Smallwood up there. Calhoun collapsing as well. Washington State still struggling. They're trying to get that run game going, but they're just having no success at all.
Sun Devils were able to hold Washington State to -6 rushing yards in that first half, which is a great stat considering what they did against Colorado last weekend, allowing over 300 yards rushing. Falk looking over to the far side of the field, and he's going to air it out, and it's going to be incomplete. That pass was intended for C.J. Dimmery on that one.
Good coverage on the outside. Gump stuck with Dimmery the whole way. Got turned around at the last second, but it was a poor pass by Falk, led out of bounds. And something surprising, I mean, the ASU secondary, they played pretty well. For being the worst passing defense in the nation, they haven't played that way this game.
Falk stands at his own 37-yard line. Running back to his right, 2 wide receivers to the left and 2 to the right. Falk looking towards the far side of the field, and it's complete. Out across the 45, it's going to be Tavares Martin Jr. Caught a touchdown pass in the first half, gets a huge gain there, and that's a first down for the Cougars. Or excuse me, it's actually going to be very short. 4th and 2 now at the 49-yard line. Decision time for Mike Leach and company as he's going to leave his crew out on the field on offense. Jamal Morrow is the running back out there right now for Washington State. Might use some pass protection right there. 2 wide receivers left, 2 to the right. Arizona State has 6 players in the box, 2 safeties standing at their own 40-yard line. Washington State working from left to right down the field. 4th down and 2. The play is snapped. Morrow running up the middle, and he's got more yardage, and he's finally going to be dragged down across the 45, down to the 43-yard line. Marcus Ball, the leading tackler of the first half for Arizona State, got him down.
Yeah, Mike Leach loves going forward on 4th down. They're now 13 for 18 on the season on 4th down conversions. A pretty impressive stat line for the Cougars. That's 71%. They're 15th in the FBS on 4th down percentage conversions.
That last pass play to Tavares Martin to set up the 4th down was a play of 7 yards. This time Jamal Morrow rushes for 9 yards. Washington State finds themselves 1st and 10 at Arizona State's 42-yard line. Falk 5-step drop over the middle, and that was over the head of Marcus Ball and also River Craycraft. That's going to be an incomplete pass. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 10.
Marcus Ball in his zone there, tried to come under that throw and tip it. Was just overthrown, though. Luckily for him, it overthrew River Craycraft as well, but a risky play from Ball trying to undercut that route.
Craycraft runs at a mere 6 feet, 200 pounds, and Luke Falk put it up there at about 6'5", 300 pounds. This time Falk standing in the shotgun. Running back to his left. Falk looking towards the middle. Now has a bunch of time. Scampers out to the right and throws, and that one is going to be a complete ball to Gabe Marks out across the 35 down to the 32-yard line. And that's going to be a 1st down yardage down to the 32-yard line. Washington State moves the chains.
Falk's a smart passer. He keeps plays alive, not with his feet, but just stepping up in the pocket, lets his offensive linemen do their job, hangs around, and waits for the routes to open up around him. He doesn't need to be that mobile, such as a Manny Wilkins type, to be successful.
Bunch of players in motion for Washington State. Tavares Martin finds himself alone in coverage with Gump Hayes on the far side of the field. Trips out to the right. Falk, pump fake, now goes to Martin on the far side of the field, and it's going to be caught by Tavares Martin inside the 10-yard line all the way down to the 3-yard line. He lost Gump Hayes in coverage. Luke Falk found him, and he made him pay.
Just as I complimented the secondary on playing well, Gump falls down, trying to cover Martin, got lost. Martin had acres of room in front of him, just stepped out of bounds at the 1-yard line, or excuse me, the 2-yard line, but Gump got burned on that one.
He absolutely fell down, too, allowing Martin to create his own space, run his own route with nobody able to cover him. It's going to be a 1st down and goal at the 3-yard line, 11:40 to go. Gerard Wicks is the feature back to Luke Falk's left. 2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right, 1 lined up in the slot. That's John Thompson. The give is to Wicks, pushing himself forward, and he's going to be in the end zone for a Washington State touchdown. It's now 23-14 in favor of the Cougars on that scamper by Gerard Wicks.
That's Wick's 8th rushing touchdown on the season. He had 2 last week against UCLA, and it's proven that he's their goal line running back. He powered that one through, carried a few ASU defenders with him into the end zone. A good power run by Wicks, and Washington State increases their lead.
On for the extra point is number 46, Eric Powell, 6'1", 195, redshirt junior. has not missed an extra point in his entire career, and he makes that one to give Washington State a 10-point edge now on Arizona State on homecoming weekend, 24-14 in favor of the Cougars. That play capped off a 10-play, 75-yard drive that took 3 minutes and 34 seconds. 3-yard touchdown run by Gerard Wicks. Luke Falk completed a pass to DeForest Martin Jr. for 29 yards down the far side of the field to set up the 3-yard run by Wicks. And Cole, we're seeing it every single time now on defense for Arizona State. They're just absolutely getting burned in the secondary.
Yeah, their secondary is getting burned. Gumpay's on the left side got eaten alive real easily down that left side by Martin. Ever since that kick return, the momentum's shifted. ASU's been outscored 21-0 by Washington State since that point in time. So 24-14 now, Washington State leading. It was looking good in the early going for the Sun Devils, but ever since that 103-yard kickoff return, we mentioned it at the time, that's a momentum killer, and it definitely killed the momentum of the Sun Devils. 21
unanswered points by the Washington State Cougars in this football game, coming in 4-2, 3-0 in the Pac-12 with impressive wins over teams like Stanford. They also have Washington coming up. That should be an interesting Apple Cup matchup. It's always the last game of the year, kind of like how Arizona State is going to Tucson to take on Arizona in the Territorial Cup. That'll be very interesting. One of the things that we should address, Cole, the elephant in the room for that matter, was head coach Mike Leach for the Washington State Cougars this week, fined $10,000 by the Pac-12 for his comments about Arizona State potentially sign stealing. And Ray Anderson, the athletic director for Arizona State, released a statement. I fully support the Pac-12 Conference Office and Commissioner Larry Scott's decision on this matter. Our professional integrity was questioned for 2 straight years by Mike Leach's irresponsible comments, and we will not allow that to happen. We are pleased with the outcome, and for that matter, the case is closed. So, I mean, this is a case where Mike Leach called Arizona State out last year for stealing signs, and he actually called them out this year as well for stealing signs.
That's his type of personality. He loves making outlandish comments, remarks, stirring up controversy, and he's been that way ever since he left Texas Tech. And he's going to stay that way. Nonetheless, he got fined $10,000, but Mike Leach is Mike Leach, and that's who he is. He's an outlandish coach who's doing good things right now in Pullman.
Yeah, he turned around a Washington State team that had averaged just about 3 wins before he got there. Turned around the program last year. The team went 8-4, won the Sun Bowl against the University of Miami, Florida, and are now won 4 games this year and have not lost in conference play. As Eric Powell squib kicks it, it's going to be fielded by the Sun Devils out to the 36-yard line. And it looks like it's going to be Malik Lawal on that. Actually, beg your pardon, J.J. Wilson, the backup tight end who was suspended for last week's game against Colorado, caught his first ever touchdown pass against California back on September 24th. So now the Sun Devils find themselves in rarely good field position. First down and 10 at the 38-yard line. Cole, we talked about it. Dylan Sterling Cole is now in the game at quarterback, and he's going to have to find a way to move the ball down the field. The Sun Devils have 14 points right now, but none since the start of the second quarter, basically, as this is a botched snap. The ball is on the ground. Washington State thinks they have it. No signal yet by the officials as there is a botched snap. And it is going to be officially Washington State's ball. Robert Barber recovered that one for Washington State.
The move down the field is that the ball was fumbled and recovered by the defense, Washington State.
So Washington State will get the ball now in Arizona State territory. So talk about bad luck. The first drive of the second half for the Sun Devils doesn't go their way as Dylan Sterling Cole fumbled the initial snap.
Yeah, he just wasn't ready for that when he was turning around looking to make an adjustment with Demario Richard, who was behind him in the backfield. Ball got snapped early, bounced off of his knee, just loose. No one on the Sun Devils could recover it, and it's an unfortunate sequence of events that Washington State's now going to look to capitalize on. 10-point lead, great field position starting at the 35-yard line.
Robert Barber, just a quick note on him, is going through an appeal right now because he got in trouble with the law, and he almost got expelled from the school, but is actually reduced now to a suspension. So good for him for fighting adversity, as Luke Falk now is going to be wrapped up by Karan Crump, who gets the sack. Arizona State's 4th sack of the night. Karan Crump comes in and gives Arizona State momentum on the defensive side of the ball. 2nd down and 14 from the 38.
Yeah, Crump has been that guy. He's